there are probably three important leadership characteristics for the 21st century leader. Obviously, leadership has many characteristics which are timeless. So therefore, I don't believe 21st century leader is completely different from the 20th century leader. So some characteristics are going to be common. But there are three very, very important differences. And unless a leader masters those, I don't believe you can operate successfully in the 21st century. The first, I say, is multifocal thinking. Now, what I mean by multifocal thinking is corporations are viewed with great deal of suspicion these days. In fact, in a recent poll, business executives were rated lower than politicians. It has become that bad. So when business executives are looked at with great deal of suspicion, multifocal thinking is about, can you articulate the point of view of your worst enemy as though you are that worst enemy? If you cannot articulate the point of view of your worst enemy as though you are that worst enemy, I don't think you can be an effective leader. Incidentally, that doesn't mean you have to agree with the point of view, doesn't mean you have to accept the point of view, but you have to be able to articulate, because nobody is illogical in their own world. If you are taking your factory from US to Mexico, if the labor union in the US is opposing that move, and if you dismiss the labor union leader as some sort of idiot who doesn't understand the basic economics, then you are lost as a leader. Because the labor union leader is very logical in their own world. Therefore, maybe if I were to put my finger on one key characteristic of the 21st century leader, I would say it is multifocal thinking. And that has changed particularly because of the global force. Because if you want to go do business in India, and if you're a multinational, you have to understand why a local politician in India acts in a very irrational way. You think it is irrational from where you sit, but they are very rational in where they stand. And if you can't empathize with that point of view, you cannot be an effective leader.
That would be the number one characteristic.
Yes.
Number two.
Number two characteristics is global mindset. Because whether you like it or not, globalization is here to stay. You cannot deny it. Globalization is like gravity. It's a force. You better learn to deal with it. Therefore, a true global mindset is one which is, let's look at the opposite of global mindset, which is an ethnocentric mindset, which says if it works in the US, it'll work in India. That's not global mindset. But global mindset is also not saying India is different from Argentina, is different from the US. That's a fragmented mindset. Global mindset is about understanding each country is different, each culture is different, but then rise above those differences, synthesize the differences, integrate the differences so that you can apply global capabilities across all markets while respecting the nuances of their differences. That is the kind of sophisticated global mindset would be my second requirement.
Number three.
Number three would be, after the Great Recession, one of the big changes that we are seeing is growth has shifted from developed economies to developing economies, from rich countries to poor countries. And if you want to solve the problems of poor countries, you have to be at the cutting edge of innovation, because the poor people cannot consume the same products the rich folks are consuming. You have to think about fundamental innovation. Therefore, the third important characteristic is innovation mindset, which means leaders must deal with ambiguity, they must know how to take risks, they must know how to build collaboration. These are networking, these are very important ingredients of developing this innovation mindset.